Welcome to the Social Millennial Podcast. Gang. We out here. It's been a wild week. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be able to deliver another podcast, another look into the mind of this social millennial. This millennial who is social. This millennial who takes part in the world. And who's absorbing and processing and regurgitating. So I'm super happy to be here. Super happy to be alive. Super happy that I've got another day, you know. Can't complain, as my esteemed mentor would say. Can't complain. You know, people are continuing to be people, as another of my past mentors used to say. People will be people, regardless of what you think, feel, regardless of what you want your reality to be. People will just be people, for better or for worse. So people are still people. The government is still the government. COVID is still COVID. De Blasio is still De Blasio. I heard Elvis Duran on the morning show. I don't know if he coined this phrase, but he said what? De Blasio? Oh man, I died. De Blasio. But I had a good time this week. Just doing my thing out here. Making moves, you feel me? As a super cool YouTuber that I'm a fan of would say out here, making plays for the Players Club, making plays in the plays for the players, you know, in the Players Club. Shout out to Joe Ico. He's going to be a wreck one of these episodes, but not quite yet. I mean, y'all could go use Google. I'm not going to hold you. You feel me? Use Google. He's not an official rec yet. He's going to be an official rec soon. But shout out to Joe. Shout out to Players Club. So, wild week. So much going on with the government. There's people trying to, quote unquote, get this aid bill out and passed. You know, congressional aid, governmental aid for businesses, I guess, etc. We got a check months ago. Some people are still waiting for that second check. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But I'm not going to go too deep into political theory. You feel me? Into social millennial political theory. I'm not going to do that. But it's just been a wild week. A lot has gone on. The world is the world. A lot of places are opening up. A lot of areas are opening up here in NYC. Yes, we're past phase 4 and essentially most things are open, quote unquote, but realistically most things are not open, and if they are open, they're open with amended hours. So I'm glad that a lot's open. I was up in on Central Avenue, Yonkers, gang, this morning, having a wonderful breakfast at, I believe it's the Sprain Diner. Really, really nice little place off of Central. It's off of Central Park Ave. We call it Central Ave, but it's Central Park Ave up in Yonkers. And I was just glad that there's some indoor dining up there. No indoor dining here in the city. None at all. And actually, de Blasio and Cuomo have been going back and forth about that for a minute. And it makes sense because when they opened up those restaurants the first time, woo, people went crazy. My guys went buck wild, fam. No social distancing. It was crowded. People flooded. And they shut it down. Shut it down, boys. Shut it down. Shout out to Internet Historian. So they're fighting about that. I'm just glad you go up to Yonkers, Westchester, plenty of places that are indoor dining, which is cool. Super glad. And I realized something. My fellow native New Yorkers, where's Staples at? I just realized, because by the Sprain Diner is a Staples. And I've been looking for some certain kinds of supplies for a minute, and Target doesn't carry the things I need. I'm like, what the heck? I don't have a Walmart around. I'm not going to order it from Amazon. You know, I'm doing my thing, making moves. You know, I'm not always home to receive these packages. Yes, it's COVID. Yes, people are at home. Some people are working. I'm one of those people who kind of does both, but does more work than is more so outside than in. So I'm like, Target, what the heck? Why don't you have the things that I need? If you're gonna be the big old department store and try to corner the market and compete against Walmart, which I don't even think they're really competing against Walmart. Really, it's Amazon versus Walmart. But that's another podcast. That's another retail theory that might become a new segment. I don't know. But the Target didn't have it, and I was like, "Yo, where are the staples at?" I remember when I was younger, there were many more staples in the city and New York City, the 5 boroughs. At least that's how I feel. At least that's how I feel about the BX. There were more. And now I'm like, I could count on one hand maybe the staples that I know that exist, that are like the go-tos. But yeah, there was a little Staples there, and I was able to grab what I needed to grab. I was pleasantly surprised that Staples is carrying what it's carrying now. Tablet accessories, laptops, printers, much wider selection. They had some computer screens, some monitors. It's like, yo, okay. They even had like a little podcasting suite. Well, not suite, but like a little area. They reserved a little space just for these podcasting accessories, which was pretty cool. I was like, wow, this is pretty fire. It wasn't too expensive, on the lower end equipment wise, but still pretty cool. So yeah, super glad that we can get some some indoor and outdoor dining up in Westchester and Yonkers and etc. Because eating I don't know, a lot of people have adapted and they're okay with it, but I'm not. Is anybody else out there not okay with outdoor dining at restaurants that were not built for outdoor dining? So they have, the sidewalk thing, or they set up they take up the parking spaces in front of their establishment and put chairs and tables there. I'm not down with that. I'm not trying to sit there and have mad people in traffic, mad cars, because I'm sitting out on a parking spot. So there's cars passing me by. I'm not about to sit and try to eat with all those fumes from cars enveloping up and wafting up into my food and into my drink and into my nose and all that jazz, all that carbon monoxide. I am not down. I mean, call it first world problems, call it what you want. I am not down for that. I'm not here for it. Sorry, I go inside to eat, to be away from the smog, to be away from other people just walking past me while I'm seated in the dang on street. I'm definitely trying to keep this as PG as possible. But yeah, I'm not with it. If your establishment didn't have outdoor dining before and you're trying to do that sidewalk nonsense, oh my lord. I was in Queens the other day, and it was just, shout out to my Filipino brethren, but it was just restaurant after restaurant after restaurant, chairs in the street, on the sidewalks, and tables and umbrellas. I was like, okay, but not okay. You got just regular old pedestrians walking past you. I mean, not that there's a such thing as non-regular old pedestrians, but I'm saying you just got strangers walking past you while you're eating your food because you're on the sidewalk. What? I'm sorry. I'm just not with it. I'm not that guy. But yeah, I am not that guy. I very much so have an issue with this outdoor dining business. Now, there are plenty of places who had parking areas adjacent to their establishments, and they just converted their parking lot into an outdoor dining kind of thing, and that was pretty cool. I've seen a few places do that, and that's pretty nice. To varying effects, some places really spruce it up and go with the theming of the restaurant and just bring it all outside. Others just are super duper simple and a little bit ghetto, but I'm not going to go there. So what are we talking about in news? Or at least news that I want to talk about, because Lord knows the news cycle is filled with what it's filled with. Y'all can take that to mean whatever y'all want it to mean. So we're going to talk about reboots. Okay, yeah. Reboots. Now, I'm down for reimagining something. I'm down for, or I should say, reimagining a piece of media. You know, you had something from a certain generation, you bring it back, you retool it for modern audiences. I believe some things are ripe for that kind of thing, and others should just not be touched. And I understand this is 100% subjective and opinion. And what I might think should not be touched, others are like, nah, that's fair game, fam. But I'm going to talk about Disney first. Hashtag boycott Mulan. Now, we all already know the elephant in the room, quote unquote, open secret, I guess, widely known. I mean, Disney / the film industry, which is kind of almost completely Disney / the film industry, kind of kowtows to Asia and China. Like, we all know this. This is just, there's nothing new. It's not necessarily a racial thing. It's more so the dollar. These are the green people, and they chase after the green. People need to get paid. The Chinese market really brings in a lot of revenue for American films. So I get it. Hashtag boycott Mulan. If you haven't looked it up, the lead actress playing Mulan, I forget her name. She put out on social media, on Weibo, I think. I could be wrong. Post seemingly siding with and supporting the police in Hong Kong with the unrest that's going on there, and a lot of the brutalization that's happening there, police brutality that's happening there as China comes in and takes over Hong Kong, the running of Hong Kong little by little, systematically. Now, I'm not going to go into the history lesson. I'm not going to go into the political science of the issue. Y'all can go and Google that yourselves. A few Asian American actors have been speaking out regarding this, and regarding hashtag boycott Mulan, regarding this idea of how Hollywood portrays Asian peoples and how Hollywood writes Asian peoples, and it's sort of just a projection of a stereotype. It's kind of the gist of what's being said. A lot of shade is being thrown at Mulan, the movie itself, outside of hashtag boycott Mulan. I think there's word that the film filmed in a province, in an area in China where Muslims are being super duper persecuted. So yeah, China is not a super freedom place. It's just not. It is what it is. Such as life, such as the world. You're gonna have different sort of political ideologies, country by country. Some will be the same or similar to our own, and others will be the polar opposite. So yeah, a lot of persecution has gone on. Religious persecution has gone on in China. It's a thing. But yeah. So I believe that Mulan should not have gotten rebooted. I believe that most, if not all, of the live action remakes, so to speak, yeah, I think Mulan is more of a remake instead of a reboot, but it's more, I believe that most of them, if not all of them, should not exist. I don't think we needed a live action Cinderella. I don't think we needed a live action Beauty and the Beast. I don't think we need a live action Little Mermaid, because don't think I forgot that was in production. COVID hit. That's pretty much halted. I don't know if they got that whole movie in the can and are just in post right now. I haven't been keeping super track on it, but it was reported Little Mermaid's coming out, or supposed to be coming out. They were supposed to be working on it. I don't think Little Mermaid should exist as a live action thing. And I don't think Mulan should exist as a live action thing. And I'm probably missing a few others. The Lion King should not have existed as a live action thing. Of all of the films, I think The Lion King proved that it should not have existed. Proved to people that certain things should not be remade. Cartoons being remade into live action. It's risky business. Especially when you're not just, it's a risky business because you can come in as a filmmaker and producer, etc., a film house, a studio, come in and copy and paste the cartoon into reality, like The Lion King was. Copy and paste, except just with CG. It wasn't even necessarily really completely live action. And that could come out trash. It could be, what we thought this would be a good idea, but it looks horrible. And then, because you have, when you've got photorealistic animals, you're not going to get the expressiveness, the dancing, the tooting, the stepping that you got with the cartoon. It's just not going to happen. And then you can go the other way and decide to remake an old classic and change things about it. Change the messaging of the film or of the property, because these are intellectual properties. Change the messaging of the property. Change the story. Add extra elements to the story that are oftentimes superfluous. And I say oftentimes because when you go to the cartoons, the classic there's a reason why they are Disney classics. There's really not a lot of fat. I can't go and visit The Little Mermaid, the film, and say that they didn't trim the fat. Because when you're dealing with, a lot of the times when you're dealing with the old school animation, hand-drawn animations, they trim the fat like crazy. And when I say trim the fat, I mean try to make the most of the time that you've got, the screen time, the frames that you're using when you're animating, when you're in film too. You want to trim a lot of scenes that really don't make sense, that really don't add anything to the proceedings, that can slow down the pace, that can mess with the pace and the feel of the film. Disney films, at least the classics, because all of them are hand-drawn from that era, that fat had to be trimmed long before, the film ever gets released. So there's very few of them that have fat. I think the Hunchback of Notre Dame has fat, but that was a later film. Hercules, maybe? No, I don't think Hercules. Hercules, maybe. But I know for a fact Hunchback of Notre Dame had some stuff that was like, it slowed the proceedings down. But yeah, so you can do the remake and add things to it, but why add something to a film or films that are a group of films that are regarded as classic films, like great films? Case in point, you don't see anyone running to their typewriters to write a script for the remake of Gone with the Wind. You don't see anyone running to their typewriters to pen the Casablanca remake. You don't see it. Now, it's not to say that we've not remade films or rebooted them or reimagined them from the old days that were classics. Think of the Nutty Professor, originally with Jerry Lewis, and then remade with Eddie Murphy as the star. It's a different thing. They changed around a lot of the story, a lot of who the guy is. They gave him a lot of different quirks than what was the original, and it worked out. But that's kind of, when you take something from the old and you remake it, at least from that old, a whole lot had to get done, in that example, to the Nutty Professor to make it accessible to the audience that it was trying to get the attention of. So Eddie Murphy's Nutty Professor, it's almost unrecognizable in terms of like in terms of visual correlation to the original film. Almost completely different. The bones and the spirit of the films are the same. The skeleton of the plot is the same. But everything else, completely different. Completely different. I can speak to people now like, oh, have you seen the original Nutty Professor? Most people will say, I didn't know there was an original Nutty Professor. And not just because the time gap, but the Eddie Murphy Nutty Professor, the modern Nutty Professor, did what it had to do in differentiating itself from the original. And so these Disney live action films, it seems like every time the writers attempt to move away from the plot or move away from the original film, how it moves, the original animated film, they more often than not put fluff in there, filler in there. They pander, they push or hammer down, try to force feed us some kind of message that wasn't in the original film. It's like, let's take this opportunity to, and then you want to add sort of the sensibilities of this era, quote unquote, for better or for worse, and things start becoming unhistorically accurate. They start becoming less historically accurate in service of the modern quote unquote modern sensibility. And I think that's trash too, because if you've got a film that's gotten it right, especially if it's a period piece, if you've gotten a film, the predecessor got it right all the way and is regarded as a classic and continues to get remastered and re-released, continues to be up-converted into 720p, 1080p, 4K versions. Why do we need live action? Why do we have to change anything? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Very interesting. Because then I'm like, they'll add a whole bunch of weird adult humor into these movies, these live action remakes. I'm like, so you're entertaining the adults. Am I really going to want this to be what my kid remembers about what Cinderella is? No, I'm going to want my child to see what I saw. See Cinderella, the cartoon. This is what Cinderella is. So it's just interesting to me. There must be some kind of green, some kind of money in this, because each of the remakes are, in my opinion, each of the remakes are trash. Every single one. I've seen Cinderella. I've seen what other ones are they doing? It's escaping my mind. It was Cinderella. They did, I guess, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory counts. They did that, which is kind of not an animation, but it's a remake of the old one. Little Mermaid's coming out. I have not seen Mulan yet. I hope to see it soon. Forgetting The Lion King. I saw The Lion King. Oh, boo. Very underwhelming. But yeah, it was Beauty and the Beast. I saw that. Oh my gosh, I saw that. They added so much fat to that. It was superfluous. The casting, I mean, not even. That deserves its own episode. But yeah, so remakes, reimaginings I could deal with. I can get behind someone reimagining something. Well, I guess I can take Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory out of that remake pool, because I think it's more of a reimagining than it is a remake. It's putting it in a whole other setting, in a whole other world, a whole other look, a whole other aesthetic. So I'll take that out. I'll put that off to the side. But yeah. So brings me to news. A Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reboot. They're calling it a reboot. They're not calling it a remake. They're not calling it a reimagining. I'm not happy. Now, it's based on this short, this sort of speculative trailer for posing, or I should say repackaging, reimagining, I guess you could say, repackaging The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as a drama and not as a sitcom. I was not a fan. I liked the trailer. I liked the idea of the trailer and this sort of reimagining as a film. Like, the way it's presented is as if it's a film. I would have wanted to see that as a movie, not as a show. I don't want this, personal, highly personal. I do not want Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to be a drama. I just don't. I wonder who asked for this. Now, when I went and saw the trailer, the sort of proof of concept trailer, I read the comments. I saw it on YouTube. It's called Bel Air. I read the comments. People liked it as a drama, at least from what we saw on the trailer. And I like it as a drama from what I saw on the trailer, but as a film. I don't necessarily want to sit through episodes of a dramatic movie or dramatic series that is pulled from a comedic one. I want the comedy. I believe that The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air accomplished what it needed to accomplish, especially considering that we're people are being people, and the world kind of just goes through the same cycles that it goes through. So we're talking about a lot of the same stuff that we're being talked about and we're being fought against and we're being dealt with way back when in the 90s. So Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is still relevant, in my opinion. It is still relevant. You could still show it. And it could still teach the same pertinent lessons if that's something that, if wanting to bring it to younger audiences or bring it to the masses again is a reason for creating this show. I believe that the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with Will Smith accomplished what it needed to accomplish and continues to accomplish it today. Same thing with the Cosby Show. It accomplishes it. Yes, Bill Cosby did what he did. He was who he was. But the show is what the show is. That is also true. So I feel very deeply that I'm not here for it. I'm not here for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reboot as a show. I would have been super interested if it was a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Will is grown. The way they did with Boy Meets World. It was like Boy Meets Girl Meets World, I think they call it, the show. And they just continued. Topanga, Corey, they're adults, they're the parents and what have you, and we're following the kids. Do that. I want to see where Will is, the character in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, in his 40s. I want to see what became of Will, given everything that he went through on that show. So I felt super gypped that it's going to be a reboot, they said a reboot of the show. I just don't like it, because like when you use the word reboot, it's like we're supposed to forget about the original show and only remember this show. And I don't like that, because the original show was gold. Comedy gold, TV gold. It's part of the fabric of America, in my opinion. It's one of those shows. That, Roseanne, so many others. Sister Sister, shout out to Tia Tamara, Living Single. So many other shows that are part of the fabric of America and Americana. You reboot it, it's like, okay, we're gonna start it again. And when you reboot a computer, you got to turn it off, bring it back again. Sometimes your save data is lost. Reboot is a very strong word, and these days reboot in film and television carries a negative connotation generally. Thank you, Spider-Man. Just reboot after reboot after reboot of franchises in order to keep making money. And I know there's green to be made here too. As much as it's a cool artistic adventure. It's a cool artistic venture to turn the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air into a dramatic show with 2 seasons. It's going to be airing, or the deal was signed with Peacock to present it there. Hasn't started filming, I don't think. I could be wrong. They let us know these things later as things have progressed. It is the anniversary of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith got everybody together on the Zoom call, which was awesome. He even sat down and talked with the original Aunt Viv, which is amazing after all these years and certain kinds of animosity that's existed. It's a beautiful thing. I'm just not here for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And then RoboCop is supposed to be getting not a remake, but a prequel series. Oh my gosh. Who asked for this prequel series? Who wants to know how what is it? Omnicorp? Let me see. What is the name of this? Who wants to know how Omnicorp developed? Who wants to know? Yeah, Omni Consumer Products, OCP. Who wants to know how the freaking Vice President Dick Jones rose to power and developed OCP? Who cares about that? Who cares? And who asked for this? I don't want time to go to this. Whoever's funding that project, fund another project that makes more sense. RoboCop is RoboCop. Let RoboCop be RoboCop. They had, 3 films, I think? Let it just be what it is. We don't have to keep trying to beat the dead horse in order to mine coins out of it. And to me, that's what this is. It's coin mining at its heart. Superficially, it's being done for other reasons, but at its heart, it's coin mining. I've got an IP here that's just sitting here not doing anything. We made a film, a RoboCop film, a remake of the original, and it was not well received. I saw it. It was trash. Poor casting on the part of Murphy. Poor writing, poor direction. The plot was, they added things to it. Was okay. That's a whole other podcast. A whole other episode. But yeah, who asked for this? I don't care about this dude from OCP. I care about RoboCop. So we're not going to see RoboCop. We're going to see them experimenting on developing the technology for it. And that's it. I don't care about that drama. Sorry. But Disney keeps making the remakes. But Hollywood keeps giving us reboots. Because we keep paying for it. So they give it to us. Because they want the green. They want the dollar. Okay. So rant over. That's some of the news that's happening. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is getting a rebooted show. And it's gonna be a drama. It's not gonna be a comedy. It's not gonna be a sitcom. Hashtag boycott Mulan is a thing. It's a 100% thing. And yeah. And in other news, talk about COVID is a real thing. They just tried to come back to continue filming the Batman. I thought it was crazy. This little tidbit. I know we talked about DC Fandom, I believe, last episode. I talked about the trailer and how it looks really cool, really promising. I'm super into it. I'm down for Robert Pattinson being Batman. That trailer was cut from 20. What is it? A quarter of the 25% of the film had been filmed. So they pulled that footage from the 25%, edited it down and made a trailer. I think that's pretty awesome. I think that's pretty cool. And if that's just 25% of the movie, whoa, I cannot wait to see this film. I'm super stoked, super excited. Now, back to the actual news. It was reported that they came back to start trying to continue to shoot the Batman and finish that up. And COVID happened. And not just like general COVID. COVID happened back in March. COVID happened like they didn't name names on who had the COVID, but they had to shut down filming again and have people quarantine and all that for a few days to come back. And I realized how much of a legal liability COVID is. How much of an insurance problem COVID poses. Because then you catch COVID, you get complications, or you catch COVID, who do you sue? How do you keep people safe from that? Especially the talent. How does that work? So very, very interesting turn of events. I'm really wondering how COVID is going to change things, because so many networks have announced their shooting schedules and they're like, we're going to film our shows soon, and then we're going to still produce or still have the output to produce a full season, not an appended season, a shortened one. They're like, oh, we're still going to do a full season in the short amount of time that we have. I don't think that's feasible, but it's weird that they're doing that in light of the insurance issues and safety issues. A whole new slew of dates has been announced of when shows are going to be back. Super interesting. SNL's supposed to be coming back and start filming again at Studio 8H. But the rumor mill is that it was Robert Pattinson, which is why they had to shut down the entire production. and have Robert Pattinson quarantined for like 2-3 days. I can understand why that would be the rumor, because you would shut down filming because a principal has COVID. And by principal, I mean one of the stars. And you need them for all the scenes. But yeah, that's a thing that happened. COVID is a real thing around here, a real fear. The film industry has not yet figured out how to codify a way, or has not yet codified how it's going to deal with COVID or work during COVID. Same thing with Broadway. It's still in the dark. Haven't figured out what the heck people are going to do with that. But yeah, the world is the world. People are people. COVID is still COVID. Oh man. So I was thinking this week. Thinking as I usually think and ponder and look off into the distance longingly. Oh, I was thinking about, sorry for all the movement, y'all. I'm just keeping it relaxed. Thinking about Bigfoot. No, not Bigfoot. I'm joking. Oh, excuse me. As I reposition myself on this rather uncomfortable chair. Oh man, pardon. All right, there we go. Oh, that's the ticket. Let me move this mic. That is the ticket right there. That's the good stuff. So I was thinking about how you can love someone so much. And I think I talked about it before. I talked about it a little bit in the last episode about how you can care for someone very deeply and they not care for you. You know, it's how the time that you spent with someone meant so much to you, whether it's a friend or whatever, meant so much to you. And then you find out later that it was nothing for them. They didn't mean anything to them. Like they'll even forget about you. Ty touched on that concept last episode. I was thinking about how people are capable of receiving your love. And now I'm talking about maybe love relationships, like romantic love relationships, of receiving the love that you give them and sort of loving you at their level, and they're capable of receiving it, but not necessarily always capable of loving you with the depth that you love them. Some are not capable of that. And if we're not cognizant of those facts, of that fact, we can run into a lot of situations in our love lives and love relationships where we're loving someone for X amount of time and we start to wonder why they're treating us a certain way. We start to wonder why they become, or it seems like they're dismissive or become abusive towards us and so on. And we sit there wondering, and our relationships don't go well or start to take a downward spiral. And sometimes we don't understand why. Like, I'm loving you with everything that I have. You know, the sentiment is, I'm loving you with every fiber of my being. I'm here for you. I'm down for you. I want you to win. You know, I'm here for you to win. And you're still treating me horribly. What gives? You know? And so I thought about that. People are really capable, because two different people can love each other at the same time, but love each other at different depths. It just leaves that opening up, which is why communication is key, 100% key, because it's pretty normal for a couple or two people in a love relationship that don't always love each other at the same depths, I don't think there's necessarily a requisite to love each other in exactly the same way and or love each other at the same depth. Like that, the love that you have for someone else affects you very deeply. Just the idea of loving them and being there for them. So when I say depth, that's what I mean. How far reaching that love is in terms of how it affects how you treat the other person, or how much it comes into play. How far in the forefront one places that love, that idea of love for that other person. So that's what I mean when I say deep and depth. It's normal. People are not going to be on the same page all the time. So it's a normal thing. But communication is key. Communication is what bridges those gaps. And knowledge, wisdom and knowledge. We pursue the knowledge, parse that knowledge into wisdom, filter that through life experience, get the wisdom. Communication is key with that. I realize, because two people cannot be on the same page, but have weird misconceptions about not being on the same page. Not understand that it's okay to not be on the same page sometimes. It's fine. It's normal. It's human. There are individuals who will have misconceptions and think that there is something wrong with them or something wrong, that it's a matter of playing the blame game on their partner or with their partner, because why don't you love me as deeply as I love you? Why don't you do this thing? Why don't you do that thing? I do this thing for you. I'm moved. My love for you moves me to do these things or be this way, and your love doesn't move you to be the same way that my love moves me to be. And you're going down the rabbit hole of fights and bickering and bitterness. And resentment builds resentment. You want to communicate. You want to be cognizant of the other person in your relationship, that they're not just an object that your love is being directed towards. They're not a TV. They're not, that you need an outlet or you need stimulation, so you just unload in that direction. This is the thing that I use for that. That's not what your partner is supposed to mean to you. It's just not. And communication is key. For some reason, I've got that floating around in my head. Communication is key. Wisdom, cognizant, the pursuit of knowledge. Remember that even in your love relationships, the pursuit of knowledge is paramount, is key. Not just knowing who your partner is, what makes them tick, where they come from, but knowing when you don't know how to necessarily express your love, don't know what, not don't know how to love, like some people don't, but when you need to understand the love of your partner, understand where you sit with love, what you understand, what you feel about love, how you conceptualize that. You have to pursue that knowledge. The second that you stop pursuing knowledge in your relationships is the second that it starts to become stale, it starts to become stagnant, it starts to become routine. It starts to become quote unquote boring. You start to not see your partner. You tend to start overlooking them, taking them for granted. You need the pursuit. The pursuit's got to be there. It can't ever stop. So yeah, in your love relationships, make sure to remember that it is okay if your partner is not on the same page with you in terms of the depths of his love or her love for you, and so on. Now, there are controls to this. Certainly, there are times where I know I want to say everybody, but not everybody. many of y'all have experienced where you love someone and they don't really love you like that, but they're with you. That's a different kind of thing. I'm talking about two individuals who love each other, who want to be in a relationship with each other and are spending time together. Married, unmarried, partnered, common law, doesn't matter. You choose to spend your time and to give your life, in a sense, to this person. Let them into your life, show them how you live, share your life with them, live your life side by side, your lives side by side. That's what I'm talking about. So I hope that tidbit helps, because people are always going to be people. We're not always going to feel the same way all the time within ourselves, and we're not always going to feel the same thing that our significant other, partner, life partner, etc. feels. So take that into account. Don't try to berate them or emasculate them or give them ultimatums, or try to weaponize the idea of y'all two not necessarily being all the way on the same page. Because that's toxic. That's just toxic behavior. And that's not welcome. It's not conducive for a wonderful, long-lasting love relationship. Yeah. So that's that. That's my little tidbit of encouragement. Keep loving. Keep being around. Don't let the world beat you down. Don't let, horrible people destroy your chance at contentment. I was going to say happiness, but happiness is fleeting. Contentment. So whatever that contentment is, don't let nobody take that from you. Don't let nobody take your openness away from being content with your life. Whatever that content means for you. So, recommendations. I'm going to recommend, I think I've already recommended him before, but I'm going to recommend him again because it's just fire content. Slamming content. Those who are in quarantine, those who aren't in quarantine, those who are still home because they lost their jobs, etc. Whole job sectors completely collapsed and dried up, and we're waiting for things to reboot, right? YouTube, iBurleezy, and Burleezy. So some of y'all might not like watching gaming channels, but iBurleezy is a wonderful gaming channel. Awesome episodes, mad content. Still uploading now. He moved over to Twitch to do his live streams, so it's cool. He brings the live stream edits over to iBurleezy and to, I think there's another channel, but I'm forgetting it. Burleezy TV, something like that. Oh, Easy TV. You got all your Twitch stuff there. But he's got that channel, the gaming channel, and he's got Burleezy, which is his original channel. Burleezy. He got famous or went viral, blew up on YouTube when he was doing his exposed videos. So for the millennials, y'all, you know what it is. Gang, He used to take old cartoons and old shows and revisit, not the episodes, but revisit their openings. You know how you have the theme songs and things and visuals for the opener of the show. Revisit them and dissect them, expose them. You feel me? Slow-mo, play-by-play. It's super funny. He goes in. Shows like Dexter's Laboratory, Dora the Explorer, which is the wildest one. Caillou. He did Hey Arnold. Like, y'all need to see it. Millennials, y'all know what to do. He also, on his original channel on Burleezy, he also puts extra content. Like, not Easy Tunes. That's something else. No, yeah, he puts Easy Tunes where he revisits episodes of our old favorites like Johnny Bravo, etc. And what else does he put there on Burleezy? He did cooking, some cooking episodes, which was cool, and some other funny stuff. Go over there, you guys will love it. If you don't like the gaming channel, you're not a gamer, it's okay. You don't, watching people play games. Oh, why are we doing that? It's weird, it's funky. Go to his main channel. Pretty fun. Enjoy it. I mean, I'm down. I'm part of the Easy Gang, you feel me? Gang, Easy Gang all day. Shout out to Berlin. Shout out to Rico the Giant. Shout out to PG, you feel me? Toxic Gamers, you know, shout out to Joe Ico, you feel me? Players Club, you know, put the pinkies up, you know. Shout out to I Am Dante, you know, Easy Gang. I'm with it. I'm here for it. You feel me? So enjoy when you unpack that, because that's going to be fun. I'm sure you're going to find something that you can latch onto. Berlizzi's pretty funny, pretty cool dude. So I'm super down. And that's my rec. Oh no, also Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 dropped, and it is fire flames. I mean, I'll go into a critique on a different episode, but get it. I loved this game. This game was amazing. It's gotten amazing reviews now that they've remade it. It's fire. If you haven't played it before, my millennials know what I'm talking about. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was the thing. It was the thing. It's still the thing. So I'm super glad that we're able to have this remake of these two classic PlayStation games. But it was amazing. So I recommend that too. If y'all have a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox, enjoy that, because that's going to be cool. All right. So those are my recs. Y'all stay safe out here in these streets. Y'all make sure to mask up, follow your state's guidelines. The world is a wild place, and it's going to continue to be a wild place. It never stopped being a wild place since the beginning. Just know, everybody else before you made it to this point. Now it's up to you to make it to the next point. All right? And the next point, and the next point, and the next point. No matter what people do to you, no matter what people say to you, you are you, and you are the only you. You are the only you that can do the you that you do. You feel me? So have a great week, y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, so the Social Millennial Podcast. Make sure to hit that comment, you know. Let me know if you like the podcast. Let me know if there's anything I missed, anything you want me to talk about in the next in newer episodes, anything you want me to sound off on, you feel me? We're on Twitter, Millennial Social. Check that out. We're on IG and Facebook. Same handle, @Social Millennial Pod. Check us out. All right, y'all. So have a great week. Enjoy yourselves this week. I don't know what the weather's going to be like and wherever you are and whatever country you are under the sound of my voice, but enjoy it. Every single breath, every single stride, every single vision that you see, that you partake of when you wake up in the morning. Enjoy it. All right. Peace.
Walking through my city, so many people passing me by, but nobody seems to know why. Street lights saying stop and go, cars zipping past me to and fro. Does anybody know now? Oh, how time is slipping. 'Cause under the surface of the push and shove is New York City. The hustle and bustle of this town I love, that's New York City. Could there be a future here? Oh, so many people giving their sweat and tears. Does someone know the way? I'm sick of taking it day by day. Oh, 'cause under the surface of the push and shove is New York City. The hustle and bustle of this town I love. Under the Broadway lights, performers working day and night, filming for the TV screen, the movie house, and in between. Heights to heights and zoo to zoo, magic that you always knew. Stadium sounds, the love abounds in the patter of little feet. Looking out for our fellow man, lending a helping hand, that's New York City. Coming together and taking a stand That's New York City. 'Cause under the surface of the push and shove is New York City. Looking out for our fellow man, lending a helping hand. That's New York City. Coming together and taking a stand. It's New York City. The hustle and bustle of this town I love is New York City. That's New York City. That's New York City. That's New York City.